Hello, welcome to More Influence and Impact, the show that unlocks the secrets of success for multi-six and seven-figure entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Celia Faye Meisel, sales growth consultant, and I'm here to help you tap into the wealth of knowledge, strategies, and experiences of today's most influential industry leaders. I have an awesome special guest for you today. It is Carolyn Fraser. Hello, Carolyn.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. So I'm going to give them your quick bio here. Carolyn is the principal and founder of the PR Shop, a full service integrated marketing boutique. And she's also accountability and mindset coach. She runs an empowered platform to help goal setting entrepreneurs and small business owners strengthen their mental grit and better hold themselves accountable for success. She has over 16 years experience in strategic communications, and she has led and winning integrated marketing campaigns for Revlon, Visa, and BET networks, just to name a few. Super impressive resume you've got there, Carolyn.
Thank you.
Yes.
You. I'm
Yes.
excited to be here today.
I know.
We're
Excited.
talking mindset and business, right?
Yes, ma'am. We are going to be talking about the power of mindset and accountability coaching in business for success. So let's start a little bit and talk about like how you got into, we've got the PR shop and the marketing background, but We're really here to talk about this mindset and empowerment for women business owners in particular. So how did you get into that, Carolyn?
Absolutely. So here's the thing. In entrepreneurship, especially when you're self-employed, you have stepped out on faith and taken the leap to start your own business, or even if you're a top executive, it takes a lot of grit. It takes a lot of discipline and just other characteristics, values, traits that really push you towards greatness. And when I originally founded the PR shop back in 2013, I didn't know what I was doing. I had one of those situations where I ended up getting let go because of a conflict with a senior manager. And what I found out later is that my situation was actually not unique. Once I started having conversations. So like that's how I started my career as an entrepreneur. And I didn't have a game plan, didn't know what the heck I was doing, ended up moving from New York to Chicago and had a fresh start. And I struggled a lot. I knew that I had the skill set to make things happen in business, but what I didn't have, Celia, was the mindset, right? The entrepreneurial mindset. And what I found over time, as I was struggling, I remember a dear friend, she gifted me a book. She had already started her journey in entrepreneurship and gifted me a book called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. That's by Shad Helmstetter, I believe. And I read that book, and essentially it was about reprogramming your mind. Mm-hmm. And after I read that book and had an understanding, Celia, that the type of mindset that I had, it wasn't equipped for entrepreneurship. I then knew that I needed to reprogram and rebuild my mind. And I did that through reading. I did that through investing in conferences and programs, trainings, coaching, right? And then I also found out that I was a type of person that I needed accountability. I didn't know exactly what it was, but I needed reminders. And I found that when I went along with other people, or I knew that people were expecting me, then I would show up better for myself. And that's essentially how my mindset and accountability coaching happened. It really just happened because it was a service to me. And then once I started getting the hang of things and understanding, there's a whole industry, there's a whole methodology and framework behind all of this, and it's proven. Then I started to bring my peers and my friends and my colleagues along with me. So 6 years later, here I am, still finding my way. However, I always say that PR and marketing, that's working in my zone of excellence. It's what I'm really great at. Yeah. But baby, mindset and accountability coaching, that's working in and living in my zone of genius. And that's how I was able, to connect with you through going towards my zone of genius. And that's mindset and accountability coaching.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh, so many good things there. Thank you. And so would you say, like, when you said I didn't have an entrepreneurial mindset, would you say that you had an employee mindset, or like would you have like put a label or many labels on that mindset that you had at the beginning of the journey?
Yeah, so I definitely had an employee's mindset because that's how I was programmed.
Mhm.
I did, however, have a goal getter, or I call it goal getters mindset. And that is someone who, you may be an outlier. You know that you're different. You know that you have gifts and skills, and there's just something about you. I had grit,
Yeah.
but I was still an employee.
Mhm.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So you had all the pieces like to be successful, but just it was the mindset. And so, in going and reading the books and investing in the seminars and getting the coaching and everything, you then develop that into an expertise where you have a business built around that now. And, nobody really like, I don't want to go be an expert mindset coach, or I don't want to go through all of those steps, right? That's why you become an expert, is to kind of help others to collapse the timeline. First, it's for yourself. And then you're like, hey, I want to help others with this. So can we talk about like the importance of investing in your mindset to overcome those limiting beliefs that may be keeping you from success?
Absolutely. And before I dive into that, I want to address the expert part as well.
Okay.
While I am fully equipped and experienced to be an expert, I also want to throw out a disclaimer. Just because I'm an expert doesn't mean that I don't run up against different mindset challenges and
Totally.
struggles and, having my days. Celia,
Yeah.
However, the difference is when you invest in your mindset, when you know who you are, you affirm yourself. When those thoughts creep up, because they're lies anyway, right?
Yeah.
They're figments of our imagination. That's what fear is. But when it creeps up and when it really like produces real feelings and emotions that's rooted and based in fear, you have the awareness to know I've done the work. I
Mhm.
know that this feeling is a lie, right?
Mhm.
And that is the benefit and the joy of investing in a resilient mindset and strengthening your mind, because we're going to encounter challenges, especially as leaders and experts and high achievers and performers. However, the difference is when you know and when you're aware of those thoughts and you have the tools to address them and overcome it, that's when you know you're winning.
Yes. And so, and we say investing, we're talking about time and money, right? Like, and attention and practice.
Yes.
And so, what is the difference between like, I can go buy a book and just read it, or I can go get coached? Like, what's the difference?
Absolutely. So the difference is, and this really ties back to accountability, which is why I
Hmm.
love it so much. Because with books, trainings, things where it may be self-taught, that's great. You can consume that information, especially if you're that type of a learner, right? So, I always have to say with coaching, it's not for everyone, but it's for most people.
Hmm.
It is for most people. I would dare to say at least 95% of the population, right? So if
Right.
you're that 5% where, it's very unique and you don't need that, great. But what a coach does for you is they help to hold you accountable. They help you to apply those teachings, right? They help you to
Hmm.
make sense of it, and they're able to bring in their experience, years of experience, right? To guide you and to educate you, to train you and to lead you, to let you know that you're not alone. And that's just a coach. Now imagine a coaching community where that's even expanded and you are surrounded with like-minded people,
Hmm.
people who are on a similar journey as to you are. It really just expands your awareness and the possibility of achieving your goals, right? Of, being a leader, of winning in your business, because you're not just taking what you learn, but you're taking it, you're learning it, you're applying it, you're experiencing it with others, you're able to give, people are able to give to you, so on and so forth.
Yeah. So it's more, going from a book and you're alone in your house or you're driving your car and you're listening to your Audible and it's sort of like information in, maybe you have some output. But the other thing too is like when you're getting coached, you can have customized support because like, we all have blind spots, right? And what we don't know, we
Right.
don't know. So it's like I could be attracted to like this XYZ book or this methodology that I'm going to study on my own. But then when I go to the expert and they take a look at me and they're like, yeah, actually, like you're good there. You actually, would
Right.
benefit from this work and these exercises. We get outside of our comfort zone or what we're kind of naturally drawn to because it's comfortable. And so I love that. And then having that community as well to really encourage
Oh my
us.
gosh.
It's huge.
Yes. Yes. There are many times, Celia, you can attest to it, but there's many times where life is lifing, work is working, and you just don't have it in you to do anything. But then you give it a little bit more and you connect with your accountability partners or your mastermind or your coach, and they just fill you up. You didn't even know you needed it, right? That is the power of being in community with someone else and not just going it alone by yourself.
Yes, I agree. I agree. I mean, I was telling someone earlier, like this show wouldn't be happening without my squad and my accountability group and my mastermind. So there's that power. And it's also like I have multiple, right? I have some that I pay for, some that are, peer
Yes.
led, but it's definitely important to have those containers where they are paid and that it's, you have some kind of direction and guidance for everyone. Cause otherwise you get kind of a bunch of people that don't really know what they're doing. And especially for business, but that's for a whole other conversation. So, what would you say, like, if somebody is like ready for accountability coaching and they're ready for that mindset coaching as well? Like, what are some of the challenges that might be coming up for them? And because here's the thing is with the mindset and accountability stuff, it's not what business owners always run to, right? Usually it's like, I need more team, I need more staff, I need more, more
Right.
business coaching. So what are some of those indicators that like this is the next step for someone to, because it's going to help them level up in so many ways they can't even see right now?
Absolutely. And, for me, whenever I have discovery calls with a potential client, a new coaching member, I always think about first and foremost, you say you're ready. And I ask this sometimes. You say you're ready. What makes you ready?
Mm.
And the reason why I ask that question is because, just like you said, Celia, when it comes to accountability and mindset coaching, it's all encompassing. So
Mhm.
oftentimes people, they may have sales coaches, leadership coaches, fitness coaches, where it's surrounded around an actual tangible output, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. But when it comes to mindset and accountability coaching, you have to be very, very intentional with saying, I'm ready to commit, because when you do, it affects all of those things.
Mhm.
However, it does it indirectly. And
Mhm.
oftentimes I will see clients or, members of my community, they start out, they have that enthusiasm. Here's the thing. When it comes to your mindset, if you ain't got your mind right, all of those other things will pretty much fail, right? It
Yeah.
starts with the mind. So they'll join and they'll be enthusiastic, but then life starts lifing.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, I would definitely say make sure that you are committed no
Mhm.
matter what.
Yeah.
So in our community, we often have recommitment, meetings and sessions where every quarter we look at our goals, we look at our progress, we look at where we want to go, and then we recalibrate, and we also recommit to the process,
Mhm.
because it's totally optional, right? So that's one. And then also there is an investment, and the reason why I charge an investment for mindset and accountability coaching is because it can be so easily overlooked, right? It's just
Mhm.
the mind. It's just
Right.
the mind. It's just, yeah, it's just showing up. But again, it's easier said than done. And the reason why, for me, there's an investment there is because I want to make sure that there's skin in the game. So that's another
Mm-hmm.
question. Are you ready to invest in this? Right. And then we talk about potential outcomes and we do vision casting and things as such. But those would be the first questions that I would ask to ensure that a potential, new customer or member is ready for accountability and mindset coaching. And then I would say, let me add one more. The last thing I would ask is, what are your goals?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then I would ask, are you ready to intentionally commit to going after those goals
Mm-hmm.
with support? Right. Are you willing to leverage the community that you have, give and take? Right.
Yeah.
So those are some questions.
Yes, those are great questions. And then what about, the whole topic of like self-sabotage, like how, especially women can, they can reach that point where like they have a lot of success. Like I was telling a colleague the other day about, I was looking back at a time in my business where things were like on the biggest uptrend that they had been in years. And I reached this high point, best income months, clients are booking out, blah, blah, blah. And my self sabotage pattern was like, I've got to go to the next thing. So I went and hired like all these people and I started doing all these things and I wrote new offers. And instead of like continuing to just repeat and like
Mm-hmm.
dial in what was working, I just had to reinvent everything. And of course, what happened? Well, then like I didn't have any new customers within, 90 days because I had completely reinvented my business. And so I looked back and like that was a self-sabotage pattern for me. I can see now. But like, what about, women that are, maybe aware or unaware of self-sabotage, and how can that be addressed in accountability and mindset coaching so that doesn't keep coming up for them?
Absolutely. So it does come up. And I would dare to say that those limiting beliefs and self-sabotaging beliefs, they will always come up, right? They
Okay.
will always
Yeah.
come up. The difference is when it comes up, first of all, you're aware of it and you can catch it. I always say that you can feel, especially with a woman, our intuition, it's
Yeah.
guttural. You can feel that. It's instinctual, where okay, this just doesn't even feel good because I know what I was working towards. I know what those goals are. So why am I not doing it?
Mm-hmm.
I experience self-sabotage often,
Uh-huh.
a lot, a lot.
Yeah.
And it is because I am a high achiever. I know that there's others who can identify when you have a vision and you're actually moving towards that, or when you have accolades and you have very high levels of achievement. You've been there, you've done that. And then you're also a dreamer.
Mm-hmm.
You're also a visionary. You're daring to do more. It's inevitable because that's when fear creeps in. I'm actually working on doing an in-person retreat for next month. And even though I know the idea is amazing, it's helping women to rest, heal, and dream again, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
amazing. Everyone who I've spoken to about it, oh my God, it's great. It's going to be in person, right? However, all of the things, all of the negative thoughts, it just crept up and it still creeps up from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to know what that is and
Mm-hmm.
move forward anyway. You have to tell people who you know, you love, and you trust, who you know they have your best interest at heart.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even someone who's been there and done that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
again, that's why there's power in community. There's power in accountability, right? So it's not that you won't experience those feelings. When they creep up, you have to have the tools to
Mm-hmm.
address them and to overcome them. One of the hacks that I use whenever I feel overwhelmed or self-sabotage, it creeps up. I'm huge on affirmations, huge. I love it. Whether it's spiritual affirmations or it's just like self-love, I always tap into that. I always listen to podcasts or music that will fill my spirit. I show up. I show up for my mastermind and accountability meetups because there's someone else out there who's been there, who's done that, or who can give you a word of encouragement. So that is how you combat those negative thoughts. And it's not just self-sabotage, it's those
Mm-hmm.
other limiting beliefs. Rachel Rogers, who's an online coach, she calls it mind trash, right?
Yeah.
And that's how you combat and you throw out that mind trash when you replace it with positivity.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And so really it's, my takeaway is like the self-sabotage is never going to go away. Like it's always going to be there. The negative
Those
thought,
feelings.
the
Hmm.
feelings, all that, it's always going to be there, but it's like having that toolkit, having that support to really help you navigate. And, too, that story that I shared, like being able to actually go back and like identify the pattern, I think is really powerful,
Yeah.
right? Because then it's like,
Yeah.
okay, when that comes up again, I know what my tendency is, and then I can catch myself and,
Yeah.
choose to pursue it or not. So,
Yeah.
now I know that you do the one-on-one work and in group, right? You have a group accountability coaching and mindset. And then I also know that you do like facilitation for teams and workshops as well. And so, what does that work look like, Carolyn?
It's just amazing. Just really stepping into your zone of genius is what I call it, and just embracing the gifts and the skills and the talents that you have. So, we've already spoken about the mindset and accountability coaching, which was just birthed out of really me needing it and
Yeah.
then sharing it and paying it forward to others. However, with the facilitation, I honestly need to think about how I really started doing workshop
Mhm.
facility. I don't even
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't even know how it happened, but over the past several years, probably through my networks,
Hmm.
I have been able to work with peers, with
Hmm.
colleagues, with leaders, corporate leaders who happen to be colleagues, and they open the door for me to help their teams learn how to better communicate, trust each other.
Hmm.
So I am also a workshop facilitator where, depending on the objective and goal of your group, your team, whether it's corporate, nonprofit, coaching,
Hmm.
I come in, I ask you about the challenges that you have, and then I use different productivity methodology and resources and tests, even assessment tests,
Hmm.
to better understand your group, to better understand your goals, and then to really create a training and different resources for you to use. So I teach that. So again, around the topics of team building, trust building, and communication, obviously mindset and accountability, but helping you to take those different resources and to help your team and you to apply
Hmm.
that, so you can just show up better, so you can do better work, so you can feel better about the work it is that you do, right? And so you can just like really give back and feel more whole, and just feel like you're in a better space.
And your team too, right? Because when you invest in your team, it builds that camaraderie, it builds
Oh my gosh.
loyalty. They feel like, wow, like I'm supported here. And that type of opportunity inside of a company can really affect turnover and morale and performance and all of those things. So, and just your beautiful smile, Carolyn, I'm sure like how everybody feels when they're done working with you for the day is like super energized and they feel amazing.
Thank you, Celia. Yes, yes. Again, I wouldn't advise that you run from your gifts or you run from your calling, because that's exactly what it is. It's going to call you anyway. So for me, this is another branch of my offerings that I'm stepping into. Sometimes, my legs are shaking and my knees are knocking when I
Yeah.
do it. However, it's a gift that I have, and having the receipts, having the results of past clients. I have one client who is a peer and a friend who started hiring me, and she's already locked me in for next year, and she takes me everywhere she goes now,
Wow.
so it's just a calling, and it's a gift, and it's also a really purposeful profession, so I love it. I love it.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes, it's such a gift too for me, like, interviewing, like getting to speak with people that are in their genius and really like hear that and, what that's like and, the enthusiasm that comes with it. And that's really what I think many high achievers, they're really like going for is to get into that genius and to really be it because like things do happen much more naturally and organically. And it takes testing, right? Like trial and error and trying this on and trying that on until we really find like that mix of like what really works for us and how we show up in our businesses, what we are promoting as subject matter experts and our offerings and business model, all of that. But once we get it together and it really locks in, and there's no one program that can do that for you. However, your mind, right? Like you have one mind that will guide you and support you to create that.
Absolutely. And you also have, your state of being and your intuition and your instinct and your spirit when your spirit speaks to you as well. That plus the power of action. Oh my gosh, it's everything. It's everything.
It is. So Carolyn, thank you so much for your time today. And let's let everybody know we're going to have your information, your links in the show notes, but where does everybody go to connect with you?
Thank you, Celia, for having me. This has been a blast, and I hope that your viewers and your community is able to truly benefit from the great work that you're doing and also from our chat today.
Yeah.
If you want to connect with me, you can reach me at www.carolyn, don't forget the S, Fraser.com. Sign up for our mailing list, and then you'll find us from there.
Yes, and Carolyn puts on events throughout the year, in person now in Chicago and online, so you can stay tuned to her events. And if she has her social channels, she's always promoting fun, inspirational, motivational content as well. So thank you, Carolyn, and thank you everyone for tuning in both live and on our podcast. And we will see you next time. This is Celia Faye Meisel. Goodbye.